Good morning. Good to see all of you out on this rainy day. It's kind of raw out there, right? So we'll be all right in here, though. Several announcements for you today. Confirmation class, 6 o'clock Wednesday. Bible study on 7. We're getting into the interesting part there of Revelation, huh? So it's getting pretty deep. So if you'd like to join us, you can jump right in, and we'll love to have you there. So we meet here, and we're down in the basement now, so love to see you there. We're also collecting the 3-ounce Jell-O boxes for the Salvation Army, so you can drop those off on your way out. Also, don't forget to pick up a shoe box or two if you want to fill those up. And when's the deadline on that? When do they need those in by? The 12th of November? Okay. All right, I'll have to make sure I put that on. Jell-O's November. See, yeah, you got me on that one. Whew, and I thought I was confused. But go ahead. And also, of course, the new price on that is $9, so $9 for sending the box as well. You should put that in there as well. Then Kathy Robb's address is in there if you'd like to send her a note or visit at some time for you to visit there in New Holstein. Also tonight is the Hollywood Minute to Win It games. You want to say something about that, Rita? Sure. Okay. I actually want to see you put on different hats because that'd be entertaining. Also, a deadline for the news article is the 27th. If you have anything you want to get into the newsletter, just let Judy know that by then. Council meeting is tomorrow, 6 o'clock here, so be here for council. And also, the Atrium in Plymouth is looking for large print Christian material. If you have any of that you've used and would like to donate, or also they're looking for gospel CDs or hymn CDs for the residents there. And Kim is kind of collecting those. So if you give them to me, I can pass them to her, or if you see her directly, you can give those to her. Just something to help them as they're trying to help the residents there as well. Any other announcements that I missed that you want to make? Yes. Okay, good to know. So is that 6 or 6:30? Okay, so 6 for your meeting at St. Paul, and okay. All right, so there I am. Now I know something. Okay. And it's at St. Paul's, right? Okay. Okay. Any other announcements that I missed? Hey, let's do our call to worship. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again. Rejoice. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Let's shake each one another's hand if you haven't greeted someone as you came in today. And we'll start our first song with number 20 in the White Book. Let the Son of God enfold you with His Spirit and His love. Let Him fill your hearts and satisfy your soul. Let Him have the things that hold you, and His Spirit like a dove will descend upon your heart and make you whole. Jesus, oh Jesus, come and fill your life. Jesus, oh Jesus, come and fill your life. Come and sing the song with gladness as your hearts are filled with joy. Lift your hands in sweet surrender to His name. Oh, give Him all your tears and sadness. Give Him all your years of pain, and you'll enter into life in Jesus' name. Jesus, oh Jesus, come and fill your lives. Jesus, oh Jesus, come and fill your lives. Thank you. You may be seated. We have any kids today? All right, it's been, 2 weeks now since we've done Pilgrim here, so does anybody remember where we were at last time? Yeah. Okay, so that's a pretty sad thing to be in. Anybody else remember anything that happened? Anything else happen to Pilgrim? How did he defeat the monster? You remember that? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Which was? The Bible, right. And he also prayed, and he reached the sword, and he got him, right? Okay, so here he is, and he's laying there. He's kind of exhausted. He's been beat up, and he's thinking, I don't know if I can carry on. But then, after a while, his strength came back, and he started to get up, and he started to walk again, and he started walking on his journey. He read in the book again, and he read about where he was supposed to put on the armor of God. And this time he said, you know what? I'm going to be more watchful in case something happens. But as he was walking along, he started to get tired. He'd been through a lot. And he started to wonder, was he ever going to make it to the celestial city? He wasn't sure. And he started to say things out loud like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. The road seems so long. And as he was saying that, someone else came upon him, another pilgrim. And this pilgrim's name is Hopeful. So with a name like Hopeful, you would hope that he would be a nice person to walk with, right? Why is Hopeful a good name? Yeah. Yeah. Well, what if a person's hopeful, how do you think they should act? Yes. Happy, right? Good, yes? Right. So that wouldn't it be kind of cool if people were the name of what they were the most, you know? Like if you met somebody and your name was Hopeful or Faithful, or that would be awesome, wouldn't it? I always think of that with like the Indians and that. Why did they name the guy Crazy Horse? I mean, something must be going on there, you know. So, but his name is Hopeful, and so it was really cool because Hopeful had come and he'd had a tough journey too, and they could compare their stories and say, "How did you get here? How did you get this far?" And you know, that's like us as Christians when we're trying to get to the celestial city. You know, it's nice that we have people that come alongside of us too, as other Christians that can say, "Hey, I've been walking on the same journey with you." So Hopeful and Pilgrim were walking together. But you know, as they began to walk, things started getting really narrow, and the road was starting to get really hard. And as you can see by their foot gear, does that look like something comfortable to walk in? No, it's pretty good for defense, but it's not an Adidas, right? It's not a Reebok. So they're walking along, and as they're walking along, can you see what's on the ground there? What does it look like? What do you stony, you know, and you're just walking and it's getting really stony, and they're starting to think, you know, this is a really narrow path and the rocks are really hard, and what if we just go off the path a little bit? What if we just go where it's easier? And as they're looking around, and Pilgrim looks out and he sees this nice meadow where it's just grass. And so he's looking there and he says, you know what? I don't think the king is going to mind too much if we leave the highway and walk through this meadow, because it'll be nice. And we don't have to walk on all these rocks, and it's not so narrow. So why don't we leave the path? Now, those of us who are older know what's going on in this story, right? Leaving the path, going off the way that we're supposed to go. But here they are, and they decided, you know, we're going to do that. Hopeful, you know, at the end, he said, well, I don't really think we should do that, because the king said to stay in his highway. But he got convinced, and so they went off onto the meadow, into that grass path. But just almost as soon as they got off the path, it started to rain really hard. It rained pretty hard last night. Do you remember that? It was coming down hard, but they didn't have anywhere for shelter, so they climbed up near the fence, and there you see there's a bunch of wood that they kind of hid under so they could keep warm, and they fell asleep in the meadow. And they were sleeping away and sawing some logs and some lumber, you know, when you're asleep. So none of you snore, right? But as they were sleeping, they got woken up by something as they